What is happening, everybody? John Muller here, and you are very welcome to a extra special episode of More Sales Every Single Day like Clockwork. And I am so excited for today's episode because today we are actually bringing you one of our own MFA tribe members to come on, share his incredible story. It's absolutely incredible from top to bottom. And I cannot wait to bring him on. He should be joining us in a few minutes. We're going to bring on Jared. And Jared is going to be sharing how he went from zero to his first $1,000 sales. And then he took that $1,000 sale and he built upon it. And then he went on to make over 7 figures with just 2 products and 0 employees. And best of all, he did it in what I believe a niche that had no high ticket offer, no high ticket coaching, no sales team closing sales from or anything like that. He did 7 figures with just 2 products and 0 employees. And he's going to be coming on today to share his journey, share his story, share his inspiring, incredible story in a way that's, I just cannot wait to get going with it. And he should be joining in a few minutes. So as we're going through and as Jared is sharing his story, I will be peppering him with questions. And if you have any questions at all, you can stick them into the comments and just make sure that you hook up with the way the group is set up. You have to hook up with Ecamm Live so I can actually see your comments coming in. Otherwise, I won't see them afterwards. But whether you're watching this live or you're watching the recording afterwards, this is going to be an absolutely awe-inspiring, incredible story from one guy who previously had very little experience in the world of online, digital marketing, internet marketing. He took our processes, took our methods, applied them in his own area of expertise, his own area of passion, went out there, generated his first $1,000 sale, and then from there went on to generate 7 figures with 2 products and 0 employees. And his story and his journey and himself as a person and his own background, you're going to find so inspiring, so uplifting, and I cannot wait to share with you. And that being said, let's dive in. Now, like I said, my name is John Mullery, and you're very welcome to this week's show of More Sales Every Single Day. I'm the Director of Marketing for Todd Brown, and every single Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we go live and we share what's working right now in terms of you getting more clients, getting more customers, getting more sales, and getting them every single day predictably and consistently. And today we have a very extra special case study to share with you. We're bringing you one of our own MFA tribe members to come on and share his journey, because I think it's something that we can we have so many different case studies across so many different niches and across so many different industries and across a whole spectrum of time as well. But we recently sent out an email about one of our case studies, Jared, and it seems to be happening a lot actually. Jared actually contacted Damien, our CEO, afterwards, just giving him an update. He obviously haven't seen the email that we'd sent out about him, and he was just giving Damien an update. And like Damien went straight into the Slack channel, took a screenshot of the email, and shared it in our Slack channel, just so everybody could see. And everybody was just overwhelmed with the journey that Jared went on. And then from there, it was for me, it was a no-brainer. I had to get this guy on. I had to get him on to share his experience with you guys, because sometimes we could be in the nitty-gritty of doing our work, and in the nitty-gritty of building our businesses, growing our businesses. We might be on our own little island, isolated from the world, whether in our heads, or whether from a reality point of view, what's going on right now. I mean, I'm pretty isolated here in Ireland right now. It's we're on complete lockdown. Haven't been to a restaurant since I think before Christmas, so I'm cracking up big time. But anyways, like, we can feel isolated when we're on our own, running our own businesses, whether we are on our own, whether we have a team. You can't feel like you're on an island, especially if things aren't going the way you would have hoped they would be going, or the way you were led to believe that they would go, easier than they possibly are. And Jared is joining, so we are going to bring him on right now. So there he is.
Hey,
Hey,
can you hear
Jared.
me all right?
Yeah, we
Hey,
can
man, how you
hear.
doing?
How are you?
Doing great, man.
I'm super excited. I was just telling everybody in the group there, and people, whether they're watching live or they're recording, that so excited to have you on here. Like, your journey's incredible, and I cannot wait for, first and foremost, to kind of give people an overview of your journey, but then after we kind of give the overview of the before and after, to kind of dive in a little bit more detail into some of the lessons that you've learned along the way, and some, if you can impart
Yeah.
wisdom to people, because I'm sure it wasn't a straight shoot from to go from where you were to where you are now. There was obviously
No,
obstacles along the way, and there was obviously challenges that you came up about, and it's a lot of the times it's the people that can navigate those challenges that really get to where they want to get to. It's the people that maybe give up, or lose faith, and everything else, that sadly don't see their dreams come true. But we'll get to that in a second.
that's
So
right.
first of all, just for
Yeah.
everybody watching, just give a quick introduction of, we'll start with kind of basics: who you are, where you're from, and who you serve, and then we can go into a little bit of details and the background, and the before, and everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are currently living in St. Louis. I'm from a small town in Ohio, and we started the company a few years ago called Worship Music Academy. And the goal is that we're reaching out to musicians, specifically playing worship music, Christian music in churches. People want to learn to play guitar or piano. That's kind of our target audience. And I've been playing music a long time. I spent some time in Nashville playing professionally. I'm a songwriter, so reaching out to these people is like a good fit. These are like my folks. So yeah, we just moved to St. Louis back in August. We were up in Wisconsin before that, so we've been around a little bit.
Brilliant. So before we kind of dive into to some nitty gritty details, so let's kind of give like a top level overview. So before you kind of got involved with Todd and E5 and everything else, what was the business like from a picture point of view, or what were some of the main struggles or challenges that you were having?
Yeah. Well, I back in 2016, I needed to find something else. We made a change, and I had a severance package from my other job, and I had never done any marketing or anything like that. We have sales in my family, but I never considered myself a salesman or anything like that. And I started kind of researching, what can I do here? I found this thing called copywriting, which I knew as a songwriter what copywriting was, but I didn't even know what that was. So I started kind of going down that rabbit hole. I found a few people that guided me along the way. So in that process, I started thinking, hey, I can kind of do this. And this is before I found Todd. And so I came up with a bunch of different ideas. I had some stuff where I did a magazine idea where I was going to sell like ads to local businesses, and I had really no idea what I was doing. and I just kind of talked nice and thought, well, I can just persuade people. That bombed. I did a supplement business. This is all since 2016. This is like 2017 kind of time frame. I did a supplement business where I thought, oh, I can do this, of course. So I ordered, got through a supplement company, got my own supplement label, ran newspaper ads, again, kind of flying by the seat of my pants with the marketing copy, and spent quite thousands of dollars on this, and that bombed. And then I did another thing that was more in my wheelhouse where I was selling chord charts, like people can get chord charts to play songs. Again, no copy experience, just kind of figuring it out. That bombed. And then so I learned the hard way that without some guidance, without like a clear picture of what you're trying to accomplish, you're learning by spending, and that is not a good way to learn how to do this because it gets expensive.
Hmm.
So yeah, I tried a lot of different stuff.
And so, well, before we kind of go into the what happened then afterwards, but there's a bit of a trend there. So, like, one, you weren't afraid to try things, which is obviously fantastic. So many people have ideas, but
Yeah,
actually pull the trigger on them, which obviously is the first step of getting going. Now, whether it pans out the way we want to or not is another story. So there was a lot of
right.
things that you were trying, and as you were saying, it bombed, it bombed, it bombed. And so then,
Yes.
how did you come across Todd, and what was the turning point from there then? So what happened?
It was a pretty big deal. So my path led me through different different people online. I found Halbert first, like Gary Halbert early on. I kind of went down that path and read his books, and then kind of led me to Dan Gallipoo, Doberman Dan. I kind of worked with him, and those guys were setting my mind in the right place, getting confidence. But it wasn't until I stumbled on E5, and I can't remember exactly. I actually think it was Doberman Dan sent out an email, and I went and I listened to Todd. I think it was either a video. I can't remember what it was, but something about it seemed to resonate really true. And it was because it wasn't salesy. It wasn't like I was being sold something. I felt like it was hitting the points that I wanted to do, and it was teaching me. And it was a big deal because our funds were running low at that point. So I went to my wife and said, "Hey, I want to spend 2 grand on this Todd Brown guy. I think it might be the the real thing." And she was like, "Do it." So I got E5, and I was in the middle of my supplement running my newspaper ads at this point, right?
Yeah.
So I got Todd Brown stuff and I started going through it and I was like, holy cow, I am doing so many things wrong. And it really was like mind blowing, eye opening, things that I hadn't thought about before, common sense, but there's so much more to it that I hadn't even considered, that I found through E5. It was really like the blueprint
Mhm.
that shifted it for me.
And so what were so when you actually started to implement it then and you actually started seeing some changes, what were some of the initial results? We'll get to some of the ongoing results after the fact afterwards, but what were some of the initial results that you started to see because of
Yeah,
E5 implementing?
it was crazy. We're still running. I'm still running the same ad copy, the same campaign that I started back at the end of 2018.
Wow.
Um, almost overnight. Literally, I had like been doing some test group things with some people, and I moved into something that I was much more familiar with, and that is teaching people to play music instruments. So that was the first thing that really helped. And Todd had a hand in that too, because instead of trying to figure out what can I sell, I figured out what problem, how can I make a difference? What can I do to help people?
That's
And
massive.
that led me back to what I know how to do well, rather than trying to just fit into something. I found what I do and solving problems for people like me. So literally I had a page, I put up the landing page, and I went through everything in the E5 multiple times. Not because I had to, but I wanted to soak it all in. I made all of my notes. I did all of the research, everything. The first ad that I put up hit. It just worked. And it was like Thanksgiving of 2018. And we were visiting here because we were living in Wisconsin. And I was like, hey, we just got a sale. Holy cow, we just got another sale.
Wow.
And through Thanksgiving and then on through then, it blew up. So by December, I was working at a company doing marketing, not because I knew what I was doing at that point, but because they were friends and they knew I was pursuing marketing. So it was helping pay the bills. It wasn't quite enough, so we were struggling. But the first campaign I ran, man, all of those things I implemented, it just clicked. And that campaign is still running. We've actually raised the prices a few times, and I've implemented another product, same format, same formula, and the results have been, I mean, it's really been astounding. Originally I just thought if we can sell 2 or 3 of these things a day of courses, I can keep my kids in the school that they're in.
Wow. And
And
what was the initial price point of the first product?
$19. So
19.
we had one product for $19 for lifetime access with an $11 bump offer. And we ran that from, I guess, maybe October. Well, really November, I guess, is when we started running the ads big, from November till October of the next year before I launched another product. And that's when I raised to $29. And we did like $200,000 in revenue in that time frame. And I was like, man, this is crazy.
So
That's, for some people, that's might not be a lot, but for us, that was drastic. That was huge.
well, no, it is huge because like we've seen the statistics, and the statistics show like something like 98% of digital entrepreneurs would earn less than 6 figures in a year. So it's actually around $60,000. So like that's huge.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
massive. Congrats. So
Yeah.
so from like the end of 2018 to 2019, with that one product and that one bump, $19 product, $11 bump, $200,000 in sales. That is
Yeah.
incredible. Like, I mean, I'm sure looking back now, you're thinking, I was like, wow, it's been some journey. So, and then you introduced
Yes.
the second product,
Yep.
which was what price was that?
When we did that, so it was about a year. We took the $19 product and just bumped it to 29. And then I introduced the new product also at $29. And the bump offer, same thing. It just went to $14 instead of 11. So that allowed us to earn, just in that time frame, we got over 300, and we moved to like 350,000 by the end of the first full year. So
Wow.
that'd be 2019. Yeah.
Wow.
So the second one, I used the same, like, I didn't reinvent the wheel. I actually went back to the beginning of E5, did the entire process again, but I applied all of that knowledge to the second course, and it fit the similar niche. So we're teaching guitar at the beginning. The second one was teaching worship piano. So it was virtually the same audience, but I just have to kind of change from guitar to piano. And there's a lot of overlap still. So we have people that come in that it's a great back end to go from one to the other. We've seen that too. So yeah.
You did this with a team of 50 people, right?
Nope, it was just me. It was just me.
That's
It was,
that's
well, I'm kind of a techie guy. And so getting into it at the beginning, the marketing part I thought was going to be the hardest piece, because that's really for me, that was the most unknown. I had never developed a website before, but I thought WordPress, I can kind of figure that out. I didn't know anything about all these little integrations and APIs or any of that stuff. But as I started working through it, just one piece after another, you talked about one of the things to overcome. The most important thing is perseverance. If you decide at the beginning, if you look at the hurdles to do this, you're never going to start. So you have to actually start and push through and just determine that whatever hurdle comes, I'm going to find a way over, around, under, whatever it is, because the destination is achievable. You just have to keep going. So when I did that, there was a million things that could have stopped us, a million things, literally, little technical details, little things, but I just kept going. And having the marketing piece, though, I'm telling you, that was You'd think just getting on a computer and writing it down, that would be the easiest part. All the tech stuff would be hard. No, the marketing piece, that was the element that I needed the most help on. So yeah.
Before we kind of get into, I want to get into some of the specifics of kind of like some obstacles or challenges that you were facing. But what, like looking back, and you're still using the campaign, which is absolutely incredible. I mean, people talk about ad fatigue and everything else the whole time, but if you're still using the guts of that campaign, I'm sure small things have changed here and there, but if you're still
They
using
have.
the campaign, I mean, that just shows you that once you hit the nail on the head, you can use it.
Mhm.
Like the campaigns, like you talked about Halbert. Halbert would get a sales letter, and he would run that sales letter like
Yeah.
for years, months and years. Ogilvy was the
Right.
same. His ad campaigns, those ad campaigns would run for years. I mean, people like Dan Kennedy, the same. They'd run the same sales letter, same VSL for years and years and years. Because once you
Mhm.
have that campaign that's working, you're just going to keep on running it. You may get bored of it, but as long as your prospects and your audience aren't getting bored of it, that's what matters. So,
That's exactly right.
what was kind of in your mind, having seen or having like seen so many different things not go right or bombed, as you say? Like, what was it about the E5 process that clicked for you? I mean, what do you think that? What was the
It
missing piece that it finally filled in for you?
Yeah, the approach, what struck me about Todd, and here's what I realized. I was being marketed to buy the E5 with the E5, right? So, in the past, I would like purchase things to try to figure out how are they selling this? How are they selling this to me? So what I realized as I'm going along, and I thought about this after, I didn't think about it at the time. I realized Todd is using E5 to sell E5. And what that is it's an honest approach. It's not like it's not salesy. It's not designed to be overly flashy. That's not the point. It's honest, it's sincere, and integrity is really important. I didn't want to be like some schmoozy thing. I didn't want it to be over the top. And Todd was not like that. It set itself apart. And I'm realizing now, I go back, I go, oh yeah, those are the things in E5 that make it work. It presents itself, it's unique. It's not like anything else. And it isn't. It's teaching. That's another thing. It's not selling. You're actually teaching people, educating them on how your solution can solve their problem. That resonates with me because I don't want to be salesy. That's not my nature. I'm not that way. So when I heard that, it just felt really honest. It felt really true. And it was exactly what he said. It wasn't easy. That's another thing that attracted me. Everybody wants you to get rich quick. That's not really realistic. You have to put in effort and time. There are some things you might get lucky on, but it was not a overnight thing. It was, hey, this is the blueprint. If you're willing to put in the time and do the things you need to do, it's going to happen if you just stay with it. And so all of those things, man, really resonated with me. And so it's been huge for us.
So there was a couple of things that I want to touch upon. First of all, you mentioned that you wanted something that you were going to be you would have feel proud about putting out in the marketplace, not advertising or not using copy that's full of hype or outlandish, ridiculous claims
Yeah.
that just roll past people. And like the one thing
Right.
that is that you're not alone like that. There's so many people that not just marketers, not just people trying to grow their business, but the actual consumers of the content that they can see copy like a mile away. Like maybe years ago it wasn't as
That's right.
prevailable, but these days, I mean, the this level of skepticism and the BS radar in people is so high these days that you just won't get away with copy that screams copy or claims that are just out
Absolutely.
and not backed up with proof points and not backed up completely. So I mean, you're not alone in that, and like that's something that we see a lot of with people going through E5, with people saying that, oh, my copy isn't working, and then we might look at their copy and their copy's like, well, the copy is screaming copy, and it's like it's the
Hmm.
reason why it's not working. And like I think you mentioned integrity as well. I mean, when we put something out into the marketplace, I mean, like so many people they let themselves down, and not for some nefarious reason that they're that they want to be they want their copy to come across like copies, but just they've maybe been led down a path that's been guiding them to do it this way, when the reality is that we have to react to what the market are seeing and hearing. And if the
For
market
sure.
are like sick and tired of seeing outlandish claims and things like that, the, the logical, much better approach is just a common sense. Here's my solution. Here's why it's uniquely positioned to get you the
Yes.
solution that you want, and like you said, educate them to why your solution is the best solution for them. And it's
That's
the
right.
results speak for themselves once people do that.
100%. And even now I see I've had to modify a little bit. I mean, you guys have probably seen this. Like every news organization now uses a curiosity lead. It's not even like ads, like all like New York Times, USA Today. They're all using like these curiosity leads, the 10 things that you didn't know about Trump or whatever it is, right? So even that I've had to modify a little bit so that it's not this, it doesn't feel like the same thing. And Todd talks about this unique mechanism. I honestly believe that the uniqueness to the way you approach your prospects. It has to be a unique, it can't be like shouting, screaming, flashy. It needs to be unique and stand out, but it also needs to be, like you said, honest and genuine. And the fact that you do that, it causes it to feel different like right away. It's not like they even have to get to the page. The way you present it should feel honest and real. So, yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, and the one other thing about being honest and being real, Todd is very honest and very real and very upfront about the fact that E5 is not that magic button in your keyboard that you can press and then go chill out on the beach,
Right.
watch all the money roll in.
Right.
There's work involved. It is a process of iteration. It is a process of sitting down, doing the work, doing the research part, doing the examination stage, finding out, doing the research on your own product, on your competitors' products, on the marketplace, finding out what
Hmm.
their hot buttons are and what problems they need solving. And like that does take work, that does take time. But like you said, that that's where the value is, because yeah, like you said, you might get lucky with a couple of different things here and there, and some people do get lucky, some people do
Yep.
stumble upon, or some people do um, hit the right point with some things. But the reality is this takes work, and the that attracts a certain level of prospect, and it also deters a certain level of prospect. But the bottom line is the E5 does take work, but it's well worth doing the work because of what comes after it.
100%. 100%. And yeah, all of the steps that you go through at the time that I found this, I hadn't started like, so here's the thing. I had the guitar course kind of working already. I'm not finished, but like together. I had the course finished. I wasn't selling it. I had it finished. So when I went through Todd's thing, I was like, oh man, all of these things that I can apply now. How does that? I had to actually kind of backwards think about, okay, unique mechanism. Okay, I have this product. What's unique about it? So I had to kind of reverse engineer a little bit. The second product, I didn't have that. The second product was coming at it thinking from day one. Okay, what do the prospects want? What do they want? How is this unique? And I designed the product to fill a certain role, to solve an exact problem, and to be a unique mechanism from the beginning. That made a difference as well. So you could do it the other way, and it was unique, and I found how it was unique. But even thinking about your product development from the uniqueness at the beginning is massive. So if you're creating something new, this is a huge value to have at the beginning. But if you've already got something, you can totally take all this stuff, pull it into your campaign, and find what makes it special, just what you've already got. So it works either way.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to the E5, sometimes when we're talking about the E5 method, and we would focus in on the fact that building an E5 campaign. But like you said, it's more than just a campaign, because when you're going through the process from start to finish, you engineer a product or a course or an offer. An offer was what we call it, regardless of what you're selling. You engineer that to be so irresistible, such a no-brainer offer that your market will go wild for, which in itself takes
Yeah.
care of the product creation side of things, which people can go, okay, so this is a way to build a campaign, but how do I develop a product? Well, when you go through the
Hmm.
process, you're developing a product that your market will likely go mad for. I mean, we can't guarantee that they're going to go mad for it, but you're setting yourself up so give your best option or the best chance for success when it comes to when you present your market or your offer, that your market will just go wild for it.
For sure. The product itself. So when I was thinking about this, Todd calls it the sin offer. When I
Yeah.
was thinking about that, that's kind of I had the product all done, and what led me to the price point at the beginning. And I'll tell you this: if you guys are listening, I struggle with the price point. I think I undervalue. I know that, but when I set that price point, I was comparing it to the market, and I was looking at what are these other people in my sphere doing? Where's their price point? And I settled on something that made it seem like this is like so good. I have to say, I can't say no. I have to at least try it.
Mhm.
And that's where I land. I know now I could have gone twice that because we're still kind of our conversion numbers are holding the same, even though we're at $39 now.
Wow.
I could have done more than that. But at the time, I really felt like I want to go so far over that if I was looking at this, I would say to myself, there's no way I can not at least try this. So that's kind of how I landed on that as the offer and all the other elements, the refund policy, all those things,
One
all of
thing
it's an E5. Yeah.
that Todd like drills into us is that, and when we're coming up with, if we're developing a new front end offer or it's a new offer for our existing clients or customers, it starts with the question: what can we present to the market that they will go absolutely
Yeah.
wild for? Like absolutely,
Right.
when they see it, they're like, "Oh my god, I have to have this." I mean, "Oh my god, this is just too
Yeah.
good to be true." Because when you stack the deck in their favor, it's so much easier to get those conversions that you want. It's so much easier to get the sales you want when the deck is heavily stacked in your consumers, your clients, your customers' favor.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah, Todd, I listened to I think it was a podcast or YouTube video Todd shared, and he was talking about I think the book was The Road Less Stupid. And I got that book, and in that, I think that's the book where he talks about setting aside thinking time. I think that's in that book.
I think
And
it's in,
Todd shared in
Think and Grow Rich as well.
that might be it too. He talked about his thinking time, and one of the questions, because you ask yourself questions, one of the questions he asked is, "What can I come up with that will drive the market wild? What can I come up with?" So, for sure. And I was kind of in the other place, like I kind of knew where my niche was, but I think the next thing I have is more in that. And what's weird is this path has led me on. The product we're releasing next is actually the product I wanted to release first. And I was going to present the guitar as the bump offer and then the piano as the bump offer. So it's kind of weird how you cycle back to these other things, and the guitar became a product in itself. And that was also, I think, a thing in E5. Like sometimes you can, there's a piece of that actually is just the product itself, and that could become the offer. So, yeah.
So I want to pivot slightly into a couple of different questions, because obviously you got started with E5, was it the end of 2018? So since then
Yeah, like 2018.
we're in February of 2021 now. So obviously there's been ups and downs, and like there's been challenges from a economical point of view, from a global point of view, and everything else. So, but what were some of the challenges that you faced that you were that kind of like that you can share, that just to give anybody else that's obviously, because you've gone through E5 and that's fantastic, but there's been other challenges you may face. But what have been some of the challenges as you were scaling? So okay, you made the first couple of sales, then you made your first $1,000 or first 10,000, then you went from 10 to six figures. And what were some of those challenges that you'd navigate as you started bringing in more sales more consistently every day?
Yep. Traffic was the first hurdle. So I've got this offer, I've got this really exciting product I'm really excited about. Everything's all set. How do I get people over there? And Todd's got there's a great Facebook resource. I think Damien mentioned that to me too. But I realized that my course was video teaching. So I thought, where do people go when they want to watch video teaching? YouTube. So the biggest hurdle for me was to figure out how do I didn't know anything about YouTube ads. How do I make these ads? How do I get the keywords? How do I figure that out? And then YouTube is a constant moving target, right? It's like the algorithms change every day. You can't count on SEO because it's up and down. keyword rules change. So for that was the biggest hurdle. And even going forward, like continuing to kind of keep that in a window where at $19, now I know Todd talks a lot about back end. Like you want to, like the more experienced marketer will break even or go negative on the front end because you know the back end's coming around. Problem for me was I didn't have a back end,
You're
right?
a high level E5 student. You definitely know your stuff.
Well, but yeah, so I was like, how do I do this if I don't, what if I don't have a back end? So I thought if I'm going to make it work, I got to figure out how to at least, cause I wasn't making enough to feed my family. So it was getting pressure points. So I thought I need to dial this in to figure out how we can earn enough on the front end to make this viable. So constantly monitoring my costs. And right now we've done some Bing ads, we've done some Facebook stuff, but our biggest stream of traffic comes from YouTube. Because those people get on there and they go, how do you play guitar? Or teach me how to play, Waymaker or Hillsong or whatever they're looking for.
Mhm.
And that's where our ads are placed in those people's way. So hopefully they see us and go, hey, that's a good alternative. So the constantly shifting target of cost versus return has been a challenge, probably the biggest challenge we've faced. There are other things like managing like onboarding customers. How do you onboard a customer and get them into your funnel, get them logged into your product, all those things. So I had to piece all those kind of pieces together, and that changes a little bit. Email delivery or deliverability has been something we've struggled with. So kind of constantly working to make sure our customers get it. So we're a little bit different. We don't have any phone support. We do everything on email because it's just me and my wife. So all of our responses come via email. So we have to kind of be diligent on that. But I think probably driving traffic has been one of the most challenging aspects. And also just kind of the ups and downs. And I can say this, when I drive traffic, we get sales. And what Todd said, what's the main tagline for E5 was never have a day of zero sales again.
Mhm.
We've never had a day of zero sales since this started. Never. Sometimes traffic is real. We're driving people at a great rate. Sometimes it's not. And, but all of those ups and downs, you kind of learn to be comfortable with those. And very rarely do we have like negative days. Like it's pretty much, if we send this many people, we generate this much revenue, and it kind of just keeps that going. But keeping focused on traffic at the right amount and the kind of the technical side, now that things are going, those two have been maybe the most challenging.
So then, in terms of towards the beginning, you mentioned one thing that you found was key for your own success and for your own continued growth was persistence. So, what would you say to any kind of any online entrepreneur or digital entrepreneur that's, whether they're in E5 or not, regardless of they're doing E5, that are coming up against challenges that thinking maybe, well, is this for me, or maybe should I do something else, or maybe just I'm not good enough to do this. What would you say to those people? Because obviously they're struggling and they're battling battles right now, regardless of what niche and stuff. So what would you say to those guys or gals?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that my mindset before, I actually was entertaining thoughts that this is not in me. This thing is not in my blood. It's just not my thing. My dad's a great salesman. My brother's a great salesman. That's not my thing. I can't do it. It's just not for me. I entertained those thoughts. But literally once I kind of stumbled on E5 and realized, wait a minute, I'm not splitting atoms here. Nobody dies if I make a mistake. This is not open heart surgery. If I just learn the rules and diligently work to apply them, there's no reason, there's nothing different about me. I'm not, if you apply the rules of this, like kind of the rules, like when I say rules, I mean like the structure, the outline, the plan. If you just apply those things, the only thing that will cause you to fail is if you stop. Now, you can fail expensive. You keep failing. So one of the things that I kind of decided early on, Michael Masterson has, what's it called? Ready, fire, aim.
Yep.
huge impact on me because the idea is you can fail infinitely if you fail cheap. I can fail cheap, figure out what's failing, and then when I find what's working, then move it up. The key I would say to anybody who's thinking about doing this online is that I didn't think I could do it. There were times when I thought that it wasn't in me, but at some point in there, I just decided the only way I can actually fail is if I stop, if I quit trying. Because if I just keep going, if I keep making small little failures, eventually I learn something from that one, fix that failure, fix the next failure, fix the next failure. Eventually you find all those pieces fit together and the lock turns and all of a sudden it's working. So the idea of don't quit, the only way to fail is if you stop trying. And that applies to anything. I teach my kids that now. Anything that you're doing, if you just keep going, learn from the small mistakes, do better each time, eventually you're gonna make it. Just don't quit.
Wow, I mean that's so inspiring and it's so true because it's like you said, it's true for every area, but especially when it's like because succeeding online is not as easy as people make it out to be. It's very
Mm-mm.
achievable. It's very doable, but it's not
Yes.
knocks. It's not without those. There's going to be a few knockout punches that might come your way, and you have to get back up when you hit them. Like
Yes.
that Rocky saying, it's not about how hard you hit. It's how many
Or
times
hard you get
you hit
hit
the
and
ground.
keep coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I can't do his accent, but we get it. So in terms of just want to just bring you back to say October 2018. Imagine you didn't know
Mhm.
that email from Doberman Dan or whatever the case was, and imagine you didn't see the webinar or the video from E5. Where do you think you'd be right now?
Probably still, um, so much this has changed so much. You have no idea. The house I'm sitting in right now, we bought this because of I'm gonna get emotional, because because of what I learned. It has changed everything. I would still be sitting in a cubicle making $40,000 a year for making somebody else wealthy. That's what I'd be doing. Instead of waking up, playing with my kids, answering some emails, and dreaming about my future, it's changed everything.
That's just incredible. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's why we're all doing what we want
Yeah.
to do, so we can have that freedom.
Yeah.
What we want to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Jared, this has been absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
Hey, man,
I'm
my pleasure.
so
So glad
inspired,
to be here to do it.
and we look forward to hearing your next successes as they come out, and keep us posted of your new product that's going to be launching. I'm sure it's going to be a home run as well, and all the best with everything. Stay in the MFA tribe. We love you, and we're so proud of what you've done from an E5 point of view and what you've done for your business and for your family and everything else. And not to mention the community that you're serving, the customers that you're serving, and
Yeah.
helping them achieve what they want to achieve from a musical point of view. So kudos to you, and all the best for in the future.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Love you too, brother. Appreciate the time.
No problem. And if there anybody is watching this back, I mean, if we do have questions, who knows? We may bring you back for a round two in the future.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, Jared, again, thanks again, and again, fair play to you and your journey. You're obviously not only someone that can take the hits when they come, but you're an implementer. You take action, and you're serving your community in the best way possible. So kudos.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, brother.
Well, guys, that was absolutely incredible, and I'm so grateful for Jared to come on and share his story. I mean, it's such an incredible journey of someone who was kind of just dabbling along there, and then all of a sudden he hit that breakthrough, and that breakthrough was not without a challenge. It's not without the obstacles that come. There was work involved and everything else, but the journey that he's went on and has since been on and is continuing to go on just echoes how powerful E5 can be when you implement it. And whether you want to become part of our world and implement an E5 campaign in your own business or not, regardless of that, there's lessons that you can take from Jared in a way that goes beyond anything else here. It's like the biggest one is that perseverance. There is going to be ups, there is going to be downs, there's going to be days where you feel like throwing in the towel, there's going to be days when you feel like quitting. It's those days that really show you who you were. It's whether you can get back up and keep going, and Jared did, and Jared implemented his own E5 campaigns, serving his own audiences, and with just two products, like I mentioned at the beginning, he doesn't have a high ticket closing system or a high ticket coaching program, like that. Just two products that go out there, incredible products that serve his audience, and he knocked it out of the park from 7 figures with no employees and just 2 products. It's crazy, but it's true, and kudos to him. And anybody else, if there's any kind of questions on what we covered or questions about E5, you can post them here in the comments, and whether we see them live or afterwards, we will see them and we will answer them. And if you're interested in how you can get started, a very easy way of getting started with the E5 method, you can get our E5 method bundle over at toddsfreebook.com. It's Todd's brand new book, the E5 method book. If you haven't already got your copy, and it's like 350 pages. I would call it a Bible of direct response marketing, and it comes with a host of bonuses. You can find out more about that at toddsfreebook.com. Alternatively, if you would like to find out how you can get our personal help implementing the E5 method in your business, working alongside us over an 8 to 10 week period, you can go to learnfromtodd.com and you can book a call with one of our E5 strategists, and they will walk you through the process from A to Z and show you how we're helping our clients implement the same strategies that Jared implemented to get the results that he's gotten in his business. If that's something that you're interested in, you can go to learnfromtodd.com. Anyways, I'd like to thank you for coming on to this special episode and watching with us. Like we go live every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and today's was a very special episode to bring on one of our MFA stars, Jared, who in a niche completely outside of marketing, in a niche teaching other people how to learn music, both from a piano and a guitar point of view in the Christian community, he took his passion and turned it into a 7-figure business. And it's such an incredible story, and I hope you got a lot from it. And if you would like to find out how we could help you potentially do the same, obviously not going to guarantee you that we can, but how we can potentially help you implement an E5 campaign in your business, you can go to learnfromtodd.com. You can book a call with one of our E5 strategists. Regardless of whether you do or not, thank you so much for coming on to this call, and I hope to see you next week. And otherwise, whatever happens, there's going to be ups and downs. You have to persevere. There's ups and there's downs, but as long as you keep going, as long as you keep implementing, you keep taking action, you will succeed.
Yes, we teach marketing, but what we really do is change lives. That's the business we're really in. We just happen to do it through marketing education.
Like, people ask me all the time, they say, well, why don't you just go out and sell some widget, man? And look, I can, there's no doubt. But what excites me more is to know that I get the good fortune. I'm blessed to just be able to give to other people what it is that I've learned and watch their lives change. right? We communicate with real people every day, with real dreams, real families, real fears, real needs. Or when somebody posts a picture online of something that they just bought their spouse, a MacBook Pro, or even cars, or we see somebody that is moving into a new home, or maybe their first home that they've never owned before. And I just know, man, that we're changing lives. There's just something, man, about seeing other people soar that juices me up.